I'm calling 911 right now. Mary Caldwell's scream pierced the tranquil lakeside air. The HOA enforcer stood on my dock, phone clutched like a trophy. I'd just turned down her outrageous demand to vacate my family cabin. This is my land, I said steadily, but her cackle was laced with malice. Is it? Do you know who I really am in this county? She punched in the numbers, each tone ringing out over the water. By tonight, you'll be history. There was a sinister edge to her assurance. This woman acted like she controlled more than just neighborhood rules. What was I overlooking? The standoff had blown up on what was supposed to be a quiet Tuesday afternoon. I'd been fixing rotted dock boards when the sharp click of heels signaled trouble. Mary Caldwell strode onto my property like a commander surveying conquered ground, trailed by two uneasy HOA assistants with clipboards. Their timed entrance felt like a planned raid. You're Jack Harlan. Her words sliced through the calm with razor sharpness. No hello, no pleasantries, just instant grilling. She was a sharp-dressed woman in her early 50s, her outfit screaming boardroom power amid the casual lake vibe. Blonde hair tied back tight, her gaze raked over my cabin with open scorn, noting every aged plank as if building a case. That's me, and you are? I set my hammer aside, sensing storm clouds. The cabin at my back had endured 70 years of gales and lazy summers. Its sturdy logs were as solid as when my grandfather pieced them together with his rough hands. 3 generations of Harlans had invested hard into this spot, making it a haven, not just a house. Mary Caldwell, president of the Homeowners Association for this whole region. The stress on whole region set off alarms in my head. Typical HOA bosses fussed over lawn heights and fence paints. This one talked like she ruled acres. Your property violates county development codes badly, she went on, flipping open a hefty file with dramatic flair. This building is a major block to our progress plans. County development codes. I dotted every I, crossed every T on permits. Any violations were figments of her mind or some hidden power play I'd never seen. What exact violations? I asked, though her act hinted this wasn't about real rules. Architectural mismatch, shoreline issues, environmental harm. She reeled them off like a rehearsed speech. Ruining the area's look. She waved off my dock work dismissively. The list goes on. Each charge hit like a targeted strike. My family had kept this place pristine, blending rustic charm with all safety standards. Now she treated it like a blight. I have permits for the dock fixes, filed 3 months back with the county. Oh, Mr. Harlan. Her smirk oozed superiority. You don't get how things really run. I liaise straight with key departments. Do you grasp my ties to the county commissioners? Her phrasing made me stop. Liaise with instead of work for. Like she was an equal partner, not a staffer. Most officials I'd met were precise about roles. Mary used fuzzy terms that sounded big, but meant little. This cabin's been grandfathered for decades. I tried logic. Our ownership predates most builds here. Grandfathered. Her laugh startled birds from the trees. We're under new rules now, not old family tales. The county trusts me to align this area with modern standards and economic aims. There it was again, that evasive wording. The county trusts me, but who specifically? What office? What proof? She acted like her power was unquestionable. I'm ordering you out by week's end, she said coolly. We're pushing enforcement, and you won't want to be around for it. Out. This is my land. You can't force me off my own property. Can't I? She drew out her phone slowly, relishing the build-up. You seem mixed up on county power and development. That's when it hit. She was really doing it. This wasn't talk. It was a show leading to her summoning cops to my doorstep. The 911 drama played out in agonizing slow-mo. This is Mary Caldwell, County Development Coordinator, she declared smoothly. The title rang official, but no department, no ID, no solid creds, just a fancy label that could be real or invented. Reporting a trespass on marked development land. The person's refusing to leave enforced property. My veins iced over. She painted me as a squatter to the dispatcher, not a rightful owner. Her HOA sidekicks fidgeted, clearly not expecting this bomb. Officers en route in 15 minutes, she said, hanging up smugly. Bucking county plans is a fool's game, one I've crushed in downtown and the industrial zone. The scale was stunning. This wasn't about tidy yards, it was a countywide plot. How many others had faced a wrath? As sirens wailed closer, my fury sharpened to resolve. She was too slick, too ready, too cocky. She'd pulled this before, but what if her clout was all bluff? My gaze landed on the porch table with old county maps from my grandfather, beside a box of family papers I'd barely skimmed. For 70 years, they'd been dusty relics. Now those faded lines beckoned like an ancestor's secret. You look puzzled, Mr. Harlan, Mary noted, eyeing the maps. For a split second, her poise cracked, showing what looked like dread. I hope you're not dragging out ancient junk. Development trumps family lore. But why rush to trash papers she hadn't seen? Studying those maps, questions surged. The borders covered way more than my lot. Territory that might flip her story. Sirens swelled, lights flashing through woods as cruisers neared. Mary stood triumphant on my dock, exuding victory from past wins. But triumph can be faked, power pretended, title self-made. As red and blue pierced the trees, one truth clarified. If Mary held the vast power she boasted, why did those old maps scare her more than any police backup? The deputies arriving 20 minutes later were efficient, detailed, and ultimately no help to Mary's scheme. Officer Ramirez, a seasoned vet with silvered hair, checked my deed as his rookie partner jotted notes. After 15 minutes, they affirmed what I knew. I owned it legally, no crimes, no eviction. Ma'am, we can't boot someone from their own land on HOA gripes, Ramirez told Mary with thin patience. Code issues go through county channels. Mary's cheeks reddened, but she kept her haughty tone. Officer, you missed the big picture. This transcends HOA. It's county development enforcement. I'll report this non-cooperation to your bosses. Even as the cruisers left, I saw her plotting. This hiccup was brief in her grand design. Her parting glare vowed more trouble. It came next morning, an official envelope under my door. Inside, a summons to an urgent community hearing that evening at the downtown county center. Not the local Lakeside Hall, but the big venue for fairs and rallies. The wording intimidated. All impacted county folks must attend on Lakeside Zone enforcement. Skipping risks default actions. Letterhead featured a slick logo for the Regional Development Advisory Council, an entity new to me despite lifelong residency. By 6 p.m., the center overflowed. I got there early to scope, but fought a flood of irate residents toward the auditorium. These weren't just lake neighbors, faces from town, suburbs, farms miles away. Mary commanded a stage table with 3 suited men oozing corporate vibe. Screens showed aerial lake shots, my cabin red flagged. Graphs touted economic boons, pegging my place as the blocker. Ladies and gentlemen, Mary's amplified voice boomed. We're tackling a key barrier to our county's future. One holdout's defiance threatens gains for all here. Her slideshow was slick, not just slamming my cabin, but forecasting doom without it gone. Lost tourism bucks from ugly spots. Falling home values. Vanishing jobs from wary investors. The Lakeside Zone's a $50 million chance, she proclaimed, flipping to resort visions and fancy homes. But it needs full buy-in to standards. We can't let one selfish act derail us all. The room erupted in mutters, shouts like, force compliance, rippling out. But her next bombshell revealed her reach. I'm thrilled this push is backing from county depths, she said, nodding to her suits. Meet reps from planning, economic dev, and environmental services. Each rose gravely as she listed lofty titles. Deputy Regional Planning Director, Senior Economic Initiatives Coordinator, Chief Compliance Specialist. They seemed legit, gravely deeming my cabin a county threat. Reports claimed shoreline damage, habitat loss, nonsense for a 70-year eco-friendly build. Economic stats promised jobs and taxes from replacement. Their talks felt scripted, the environmental guy eyeing Mary for cues like an underling, not expert. In the break, snippets showed Mary's prep, personal calls warning of value drops, letters on tax hikes from my stance. Her campaign was targeted and thorough. Mary hadn't just hit my property. She'd sold the county that my holdout jeopardized their wallets. Resuming, she opened for input. Speakers paraded fears, a mom on kids' futures without jobs, a retiree on sinking values, a shop owner blaming tourism dips on inconsistent looks. Each was primed on economics, not attacks. This was engineered consensus. I was the villain blocking prosperity. But cracks appeared in Mary's tale. Officials cited obscure rules, studies. My questions on assessing depths got brushed as off-topic. Telling. Frank Dawson, retired county clerk of 40 years, asked simply, Mary, which ordinance empowers your council over private land? The query lingered like a dare. Mary's surety wavered briefly. Frank, procedural trivia is nice, but focus on impacts, not red tape. Our framework's vetted. But Frank pressed. In my tenure, no such council existed. When formed, under what law? Silence fell. Even I felt he'd hit a nerve. Mary's snapback was curt. Mr. Dawson, governance advanced post-retirement. Let's solve, not question. The deflection was polished, but her annoyance showed. Real power doesn't dodge basics. Hearings end. Vote on enforcing my property. 80% yes in the full house. Community will's evident. Mary beamed. We'll enforce fully. Mr. Harlan has 24 hours to rethink before actions start. Leaving felt like dodging glares. Neighbors I'd known years now saw me as their economic foe. But Frank's probes echoed. Regional Advisory Council, Development Coordinator, all grand but absent from his 40-year knowledge. At the cabin, I pored over those maps intensely. If Mary's power was phony as Frank implied, these papers held real weight beyond nostalgia. For the first time, hope flickered. Mary had erected a facade of authority, but facades hide voids. And if hers was illusion, my grandfather's box might hold the key to toppling her charade. The night post hearing turned my cabin into a command post. Papers blanketed tables, sofas, floors, 70 years of family records under scrutiny, sparked by Frank's doubts on Mary's legitimacy. Dawn brought the first find, 1,952 letters from my grandfather to State Land Office. A post-war ownership tangle, with copies of all. One line jumped. Enclosed verification of original county grant. State Archives file CG 1847 Jefferson County 0001. It sparked a jolt. This transcended deeds. It touched county founding laws. Hands shaking, I dialed state records. Routed to historical grants, I mentioned the 1847 Jefferson link. Oh my, the specialist said. Rare survivors. Most overridden by reorganizations, but some persist. File number? I read it. Typing ensued. Mr. Harlan, unusual. This grant's active, never superseded. Hold for legal consult. Active. While on hold, maps revealed borders engulfing Lake Community, downtown, vast public lands. If true, my family's grant spanned unimaginable ground. Mr. Harlan, She returned excited. Come view docs in person. This seems a founding grant for Jefferson County. Legal has questions on ownership, needs full record. The 2-hour drive to Capitol let thoughts brew. Mary's boldness? Maybe exploiting ownership fogs. But if no fog, if clear title, she'd schemed on my land. State archives, grand granite, radiating officialdom. Specialist, mid-40s and focused, led through security to endless files. Mr. Harlan, 15 years here, never seen this. Most grants fragmented or reverted. Your slip cracks for 150+ years. Conference room table held ancient docs, some faded, sealed like artifacts. Chief legal historian, 60s and authoritative, began. Your grandfather's letters prompted full Jefferson review. Unprecedented. He lifted a bound folder reverently. Original grant to ancestor Samuel Harlan, September 12, 1847. Territorial Gov sought developers for new counties. Doc, elegant script, seals, vast boundaries. Language raced my heart. Samuel Harlan granted perpetual ownership and admin authority over county bounds, held in trust for development/governance. Modern meaning? I asked. Mr. Harlan, your family owns all original Jefferson lands. County formed by granting your ancestor the whole for building infrastructure. Over time, you've been like landlords letting tenants develop while keeping root rights. Words stunned. Mary wasn't just bullying my cabin, she targeted my county. Every ordinance, plan, power play happened on my turf. More, 1920s letters where great-grandfather reserved oversight while allowing county ops. Permitting Gov while holding ultimate say. Clarity hit. Mary's empire fraudulent. Her counsel, title, enforcement, void on my land. If claiming authority without basis, I started, they'd commit fraud, historian finished. Especially with fake titles/entities. Her presentations, docs, claims, all criminal on my property. Need court-ready copies, I said. Prepared, she handed sealed folder. But if fraud with county buy-in, it's conspiracy across levels. Driving back with proof, shock turned steel. Mary's 24-hour rethink. Her misstep. Threatening wrong guy on wrong land. Next clash wouldn't defend cabin. It'd reclaim my county with legal firepower to shatter her scam. Deadline morning hit like a noose. I'd prepped presentation, sequencing state docs to dismantle Mary's fraud. But at County Center 9 a.m., I underestimated her assault. Lot jammed, news vans from nearby counties, dishes skyward. Banner, county emergency session, final resolution. Not meeting, media extravaganza to crush resistance. Inside, courtroom setup, Mary at judge-like bench with 5 suits, nameplates as officials. Screen showed resort render where my cabin stood, with marina, golf, condos. Audience, every mogul, developer, politico within 50 miles, mayor, council, state reps. Ladies and gentlemen, Mary's voice thundered via pro audio. Today we clear the last hurdle to Jefferson's biggest boon. The Lakefront Initiative, $300 million, 1,500 jobs, regional hotspot. Her pitch was exhaustive. Architects' plans, economist studies, environmental claims that removing my decay boosted ecology. Endorsements paraded, planning head-on approvals, environmental on threats, economic on revenues. Each cited unseen studies, painting my holdout as doom. Mr. Harlan, Mary addressed me. You've had chances to settle willingly. Counties tolerated your attachment, but one can't block all. Attachment, sneered, belittling generations to whim. Room agreed. I felt stares branding me selfish. Yet, she added grandly, county offers fair value, $250,000 plus job priority in new build. Final voluntary deal. $250,000 hung tempting. To outsiders, generous for rustic lot. Unaware it bought a county cheap. I must declare, I stood amid crowd. This proceeding's fraudulent. Hostility surged. Mary's lip pitted. Accusations of fraud are unfit, potentially suable. Authorities established legally. No, I countered, briefcase out. State docs proof. Mr. Harlan, planning suit cut in. Not venue for deed spats, already dismissed. Your historical claims reviewed, meritless for governance. Reviewed? Never submitted. But his dismissal sold my proof as rejected junk. Audience bought it. Further, Mary warned, disruption risks contempt. 60 seconds to accept or face eminent domain. Ultimatum crushed. My archives, fraud-proof, brushed irrelevant. Rooms faces, impatient to hostile. Neighbors saw me as barrier to salvation. Even Eleanor Hayes, once supportive elder, averted eyes. 30 seconds, Mary timed. Patience ends. Isolated, clarity dawned. Mary's perfection two-staged, reliant on blocking scrutiny. Her theater hit emptiness. Time's up, she declared. Commissioners vote Resolution 47. Emergency eminent domain on Lot 15. Unanimous yes, noted, applauded. Passes. Mr. Harlan, 24 hours to vacate. Sheriff aids removal, blocks interference. Exiting amid excited job chatter, defeat should have broken me. But no, cold armor formed. Mary's public push, assembling powers, centering her fraud. Perfect stage for reversal. She craved showdown. She'd get one. Not defending cabin, exposing criminal plot on my land. And I'd present evidence without asking. Her 24-hour vacate became my research blitz. Cabin as HQ, archives versus county records. Contrast, her spectacle versus my relics. But power and unexpected. Called state research back. Mr. Harlan, timely. Postmeet, dug deeper on Jefferson founding. Unprecedented. Mean. Triggered review of grants statewide. Jefferson not alone. Overlooked rights in multiples. Not just my property, pattern across region. My docs evidence in potential crimes. More. Checked hearing officials' creds. Not in state directory. Blood-chilled. Meaning. Fake titles or overreaching staff. Yesterday's not legal. Phrases confirmed suspicions. Mary structure fictitious, fooling hundreds. Need you back now, she urged. AG reviews docs for probe. Bring all. 3-hour drive. Her deadline irrelevant. While she prepped victory, state built case to gut her. AG office, full floor in Capitol. Escorted to room with specialist, stern fraud investigator, authoritative 60s man. Mr. Harlan, AG began. You've sparked biggest local gov fraud probe in state history. Jefferson epicenter of multi-jurisdiction scheme years running. Questionable seizures, approvals, fake entities in 4+ counties. Pattern, grand titles, intimidate owners, pressure communities for developments on illicit land. Breathtaking, Mary part of organized fraud stealing millions in property. My cabin latest mark. But unique, specialist interjected. Other cases disputes, yours ironclad. You own county. AG leaned. So Mary's acts, fake entities, proceedings, seizures, on your land sans permission. Crimes against you and all residents while trespassing. Legal web complex, but clear. I key to unraveling. My rights foundation to challenge her decisions countywide. Need authorization to act for you in reclaiming, exposing. But irreversible, public. Thought of hearing crowd. Votes to steal my land on camera. Vindication tempting. But more. What of other victims? Families lost homes, manipulated communities. Remarkable. Your ownership lets void fraud transfers, restore rights. Power overwhelming. Stop Mary, repair harms. Responsibility huge, justice opportunity too. One more, monitored Jefferson comms. Mary set victory / groundbreaking tomorrow. Media, investors, legislators, hundreds for project launch. Plans demolish your cabin symbolically. Audacity, public crime before witnesses. Gives opportunity, AG shrewd. Let event run. When she swings sledge, you step with state enforcement, prove criminal act on your land. Media there, investors watch, supporters witness. Exposure instant, destroys credibility. And shows other communities fake entities beatable. Driving back with docs, enforcement backing, calm enveloped. Tomorrow inevitable as dawn. Mary assumed no one had evidence plus authority. She'd learn assumptions shatter like presentations, by truth timed right. Mary's victory day broke crisp, autumn clear. From porch, I watched crews tent lakefront, rig cameras, hang banners. Jefferson's bright future starts today. Ironic. Perfect day for her downfall. By 10 a.m., site rally corporate mashup. Major news vans joined locals, tech forced upward. Red carpet to platform with mics for drama. I suited sharp, like grandfather's funeral attire. If theater, I'd fit power rooms. Briefcase sequenced for impact per AG. 11:30, VIPs, legislators from sedans, execs from luxury rides, locals who deemed event must-see. Guest list ballooned regional. Mary limoed at noon, power-suited for TV. Schmoozed like Politico, handshakes, photos, confidence from unchallenged schemes. Ceremony kicked with supersized yesterday, screens with renders, projections, county makeover visions. Ladies and gentlemen, she boomed. Start of ambitious transformation. Renaissance project, 3,000 jobs, millions revenue, world-class draw. Applause roared. Crowd cheered vision lifting fortunes via developments. Endorsements showcased prep, planning praise assessments, economic job hype. Each introed with creds, spoke authority, citing studies pegging my resistance as obstacle. Today's groundbreaking. Progress over nostalgia, prosperity over stubbornness, dev director declared. Mood shifted celebratory to aggressive, words at questioners of group good. Studying, planning guy sought Mary's nods, economic deflected specifics with vagaries. Telling, real sheriff's security query got nervous glances, Mary redirecting to benefits. And now, Mary flourished, moment awaited, removing final barrier to future. Gestured my taped cabin, crew with tools ready. Cameras on log symbol of block to salvation. This isn't just old build, she prosecuted. Represents mindset trapping past while growth flees progressive spots. Crowd indignant, nodding as she raised ribbon sledge. Before building future, remove obstinate remnant, stop. My voice cut water clear via her system. Heads turned to me on dock, briefcase in hand, suited for decisions. Contrast, her elevated spectacle versus my simple planks, quiet surety from contents. Ladies and gentlemen, I said advancing. Before construction, know the land you stand on. Mary's triumph to confusion to fear. Crowd's build-up stalled. Mr. Harlan, event closed. Your chance passed. Actually, legal starting. Open briefcase, withdrew sealed folder. Movement deliberate, highlighting seals, parchment versus. Her gloss. Docs from AG prove recent county actions unauthorized. Crowd's energy deflated. Leaders glanced uneasy, palsied exits, media scented twist. Mary quavered, proceedings vetted. Grievances can't disrupt, grievances? I held 1847 grant, seals visible. About ownership. Silence spread. Cameras swiveled to dock from sledge. Audience processed variably. Biz grasped legal hits first, alarm spreading. Paul sought outs, disaster evident. Locals bewildered, Celebration to minefield. Means, I approach platform where she froze sledge high. All here on my property. Officials exercising unauthorized control. Decision sans owners okay. Mary paled. Impossible. Certified officials. No, I produce more. AG probe shows many not legit guff. Crowd silent, absorbing claims. Told legal, approvals, authority, all lie. Opportunity celebrated built on fraud on others' land. Before sledge to my property. Real review of authority over 170-year family land. Mary sledge raised. No longer progress symbol. Caught mid-crime before cameras, witnesses. Question. Did I own Jefferson or desperate ploy? Post-question silence eternal. Crowd frozen. Cameras rolling. Mary sledge up like an used weapon. Sirens cut tension. Not lone car, but convoy precise. Heads turned nervously as state enforcement arrived through trees. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like verification of my words. 3 SUVs, 2 troopers pulled efficient. AG emerged with investigators, briefcases matching mine. Troopers positioned authoritative, not aggressive. Crowd edged panicky. Biz to cars, Paul's phoning. Media closed in, story exploding. Good afternoon, AG commanded. Verifying Mr. Harlan's docs, explaining today's implications. Mary lowered sledge, face sweaty realization months planning crumbling. Misunderstanding, she said weakly. County reviewed, protocols followed. Actually no, AG factual. Probe shows Jefferson under fraud months, maybe years. Claiming entities non-legit. Gestured officials, not employed legit. Private impersonators. Impact devastated. Supporters realized conspiracy participants. Biz calculated exposure, Paul's distanced liability. Dramatic, planning bolted crowd push desperate. Economic stepped explanatory, misunderstanding roles. Hired consultants, Mary said authorized. Mary's crimson, false. Certified personnel and protocols. Suggestions undermine legit. But protests desperate as infrastructure fled. Own officials bolting hurt case. Further, AG produced docs. Advisory council never legal, private for intimidation, fraud transfers. Revelation blow, all told on oversight, compliance, authority, criminal scam. Ordinances fake, assessments non-agency, studies private no authority. Mary's breakdown public complete. Ridiculous. Worked commissioners, depths across region. Docs prove authority. No, AG firm. Don't. Impersonating, fake entities, unauthorized. Actions criminal. Mary's mistake, desperate justify, revealing scope. You miss coordinating multi-county dev. Council millions investment, hundreds jobs. Years planning legit biz, goals. Admission damning, confessed multi-county fraud. What AG suspected, now proven. MS. Caldwell, investigator advanced cuffs visible. Arrested conspiracy fraud, impersonating, trespass. Rights. Crowd stunned as months dominant figure cuffed before cameras, hundreds. Sledge abandoned, power to evidence. But dramatic, AG to crowd. Clear, hearing participants voted seizure on fraud info by criminals. Investors scammed. Supporters manipulated lies, authority. Impact overwhelming. Months legit dev believers now conspiracy pawns. Divided community realized deceived. However, AG continued, Mr. Harlan's ownership offers resolution protecting interests. Title lets void frauds, restore ownerships. Implications sank. I not victim, authority to undo damages. Pressured families, relocated biz, lost orgs, potentially restored. Eleanor Hayes, fearful elder, stepped ashamed relieved. Jack apologioed. All do. New wrong pressuring, scared silent. Acknowledgement broke dam. Others approached, guilt fear mix. Not hostility, hearing manipulation shame. Mr. Harlan, marina owner said. Supported for business promise. Never knew legal lies. What of investments on fraud? AG, office works with Mr. Harlan on losses. His property discretion remedies damages to legit owners, operators. As Mary led away, empire collapsed real time. I faced unsought duty. Not expose/reclaim. Determined county future victimized by cabin thieves. Celebration crowd now sought my guidance rebuilding on legit authority versus deception. Sledge meant demolish home. Instead demolished depressing structure. Surrounded cameras, officials, awakening neighbors, clear, Jefferson restoration just began. 3 months post Mary's arrest, I stood on dock where ordeal started, sunrise gilding Jefferson brighter somehow. Lake serene, air fresh. First time since nightmare, truly home. Change not instant. After exposure, county-controlled chaos, disputes resolved, contracts voided, trust rebuilt in governance. Responsibility mantled unwanted, but with AG, land rights experts, framed honoring history/modern needs. Jefferson Land Trust, 6 weeks post-arrest, modeled blending traditional rights democratic rule. Principle, I hold foundational grants, but governance shared elected council. Dev decisions need consensus plus my okay as historic owner. Prevents autocracy/mob. Ensures dev serves community, not outsiders. Mary's fraud resolution swift, thorough. Feds with AG uncovered schemes, 7 counties, 3 states. Cabin fight exposed org stealing millions via fake authority. Mary got 12 years federal after guilty plea mail/wire fraud, impersonating. Fake officials 3 to 7 years, per involvement/cooperation. Key, all her transfers voided. Pressured families regained homes. Relocated biz reclaimed spots. Marina owner recovered investment plus damages from seized assets. Most gratifying, Eleanor reclaiming voice. Fear silenced elder-led rebuild. Experience, wisdom, history invaluable for transparent, input-focused structures. Jack, she called from shore, energy renewed. Council an hour. Ready? Today's meeting finalized dev guidelines governing growth. Unlike Mary's mandates, these from genuine discussions, experts, balancing economy/environment. New center, built voluntary on my public designated land, symbolized cooperation, rights respect, consent-based gov. Arriving, packed, but different, debate, questions, healthy disagreement of democracy. Frank Dawson, clerk whose questions cracked Mary's facade, now elected chair. Experience vital for accountable systems, anti-fraud. Morning all, Frank open confident, authority legit/accountable. Reviewing sustainable dev guidelines for land use. Guidelines from committees, scientists, economists, lawyers, reps. Unlike Mary's fakes, rigorous, verifiable, challengeable transparently. Key, checks preventing unchecked power. Independent assessments, multi-source projections, mandatory genuine engagement. Also Protection Fund, Harold noted, aiding pressured residents legally. Conspiracy Assets Fund ensures no intimidation like Jack/others. Fund more than protection, commitment anti-abuse. Questionable demands get judicial challenge. But biggest shift cultural. Divided community reunited transparency, accountability, respect. Hearing turncoats became strong advocates protecting rights, fostering cooperation. We acknowledge, Frank turned to me, Jack's generosity, structuring trust community-wide. Could have enriched, personally displacing. Chose strengthen institutions, stability. Applause genuine, warm, gratitude not performance. Meeting progressed provisions. I reflected grandfather, Harlan's stewarding through wars, depressions, changes. My turn, define stewardship. Easy, sell rights, retire rich. Profitable, exploit position. Neither fit family values 150 plus years. Chose complex rewarding. Use authority bolster shared community. Ensure dev meets local needs not profits. Safeguards anti-power abuse like Mary's. Before close, Frank invited, Jack, final thoughts on guidelines? Standing before familiar faces from months' work, history/future converged. 3 months ago, fought safe cabin from HOA bully. Never dreamed, family-owned county. Cabin foundation rebuilding governance relation. Paused, scanning room. What built? Valuable beyond Mary's dreams. System addresses needs sans rights sacrifice, dev sans destruction. Authority, via consent not force. Guidelines approved. Model sustainable dev, studied/adapted elsewhere. Environment/economy balanced. Rights secured community framework. Governance transparent, participatory, not manipulative. Meeting ended, sun out, Eleanor approached weighty question. Jack, regret fighting dev? Resort jobs, revenue. Considered, Meredith, fraud/intimidation foundations unsustainable. Created better, honest eval needs/impacts versus. Crises, authority. Looking community center, restored lakefront picnics, reclaimed voices, confident right path. County's future truth not theater, cooperation not coercion, values not exploitation. Sunset that eve, dock where Mary threatened 911. Cabin intact, testament standing firm. But surrounds transformed defending. Stolen county restored law. Divided community reunited justice. Land family 150 plus years serves future via institutions, anti-destructive power. Jefferson became unimaginable to founders, but approvable. Traditional/modern gov together, honoring rights/responsibility. Legacy preserve, foundation defend, future build. What do you think about the themes of injustice and bullying in everyday life? Share your opinions in the comments below, especially if you've faced similar situations. Take a stand and express your views. I'd love to hear how you'd handle a showdown like this.